This might be one of the most confusing parts of the fearful avoidant attachment style, where sometimes you might feel something, or sometimes you might see clearly that you do want to spend the rest of your life with your partner. That isn't always the case, that you do feel that. And then sometimes you don't feel anything and you feel repulsion, and maybe the only way to kind of access your feelings is to imagine losing your partner. And that might be so confusing. Why can't you just allow your feelings? Well, you have some good reasons for that, my friend. And we are going to dive into that today. So, the first reason for a fearful avoidant to not feel anything for their partner is that you might be suppressing all your feelings. You might be very afraid of your feelings. I made a video about that before. You can look that up, why you are so afraid of your feelings. But when you are, you tend to suppress all your feelings. And so feelings are a package deal. And we can't just cherry pick wanting to feel happy, wanting to feel love, wanting to feel bliss, and then suppressing all the others. It just doesn't work that way. So, what happens usually for the fearful avoidant is that you suppress all your feelings, and then the only thing you really feel is either numbness or anxiousness. Because fear and anxiety is like a primal feeling. You needed that when we were living out on the prairie, or whatever you call it, and we had to fend for ourselves, and you needed that to be alert at certain times. And so when we suppress everything, fear is pretty much the only emotion or feeling we can feel. And a lot of fearful avoidance tend to feel that a lot. You might recognize that there's just a lot of anxiousness, um, and fear and restlessness and stress in your body. And then it definitely is also possible that you just don't feel anything. You just are numb, which can also definitely be a sign of depression. So seek professional help for that if that has been there for longer than a couple of weeks. Um, yeah, make sure you get the right help for that too. But that might be one of the reasons why you don't feel anything for your partner. If you're really scared of your feelings, as a lot of fearful avoidants are, and you suppress all your feelings because you're so afraid of what it would mean if you feel stress, if you feel any negative emotion, then it's really hard to allow all the good feelings, all the beautiful feelings, and really enjoy that. And then the second reason is it's actually scary to want and desire somebody if you are afraid of connection. And the fear of connection is definitely a characteristic of the fearful avoidant attachment style. You want connection, you crave connection, but at the same time, you're really scared of it. And so, what happens in a loyal, committed, healthy relationship? Your partner is actually quite available for connection all the time. And that is scary for a fearful avoidant. The only way to get control then over the situation and get control over the connection is to shut down your feelings, to shut down wanting or desiring a partner. It doesn't feel safe when you are afraid of connection, because the moment you want or desire your partner, there is that possibility for connection. There is that opening for connection because your partner is willing and available. And so that is too scary for you for numerous reasons. And so you just shut off all your feelings, kind of to keep your partner at a distance and to make sure that there's no connection or not too much connection happening. It's frustrating, isn't it? Because you want your partner, and yet you don't feel anything. But anything that happens that frustrates you or that you don't understand or is confusing, you actually have logical reasons for that. It is protecting you in a way, it is serving you in a way. And I know that can be maddening because you just want to be happy. But as soon as you know why you're scared of it, what it is protecting you from, then you can heal it. And then you can just allow your feelings to be there. So this is all of this can definitely be healed. The third one is, and I think a lot of people struggle with this. This is not just a fearful avoidant attachment style, but I do think fearful avoidance maybe have this more, that when you surrender to these feelings, so not necessarily to the relationship, but to allowing all these beautiful in love feelings, then what a lot of fearful avoidance will feel immediately after is it will get taken away. What if I lose it? So I remember so vividly that I would have moments where I would just feel in love, where I would feel butterflies, where I would feel so happy with my then boyfriend, now husband. Um, and immediately it was like there was this voice or this part of me that just said, nope, nope, stop. You can't do that because it will be taken away, or even because you're happy, it will get taken away. And this definitely mostly stems from childhood, but I do have to mention that we are also influenced by whatever we see growing up, whatever we experience growing up. And a lot of movies, I don't know if you've noticed this, but when a relationship is truly happy in a movie, that usually is a sign almost that one of the partners would die or something horrible will happen. And that is just screenwriting, right? Because it's only an immense drama when, or only, not only, but it's even more of a drama when, or a tragedy when the couple is just really really happy. And so in movies, what you usually see is that either a couple is struggling or hating each other and then loving each other, and before they start their life together. But when you see a couple that is already happy, that maybe has been married for a long time and is just happy with each other, one of the two partners dies or something terrible happens. And I always thought that that didn't influence me, but research shows that that's definitely not true. We are all influenced by those examples, what we see. And so I'm not saying that this comes solely from that, from those examples that we have in the movies, but it does influence the way we feel about being happy. And I've heard actually people say, without me explaining this, that, well, but when couples are happy in the movies, always somebody dies. So I think some people can be a little bit more conscious of it. But there's also a root cause in childhood, because when you've experienced that whenever you were happy, something bad would happen, and that can happen when happiness or just positive emotions are a trigger for your parents or caregiver. And it could be that they get annoyed or they get angry or they reject you or they humiliate you just because they don't have that ability to allow happiness completely, and so they are uncomfortable with you being too happy or you being having too many positive feelings. So that could also happen, or that could also be a reason why you don't allow those beautiful feelings. And then the last one is, I think a lot of fearful avoidance also feel very unworthy and undeserving of love and of the beautiful things. And this relates to, correlates with the belief that you are a bad person, that you always mess up, that you always make mistakes, that you hurt others, which is something a lot of fearful avoidance believe. Um, and so you don't deserve beautiful things. And I remember that I almost felt like if I was too happy with Aryan, my now husband, then boyfriend, if I was too in love, it was almost like somebody would notice, and I don't know who, but something or somebody would notice and would be like, oh no, but wait, you don't deserve that at all. And he would get taken away in whatever shape or form. So I almost try to not feel too much or held back because I didn't want, and I don't know who. I mean, I'm not raised in a religious household or anything, so it wasn't like I had this image of God that could do this, but it was just like somebody would notice and would take him away when I would be too happy, and I am undeserving of that. So obviously it would get taken away. And that's sad, isn't it? I mean, we all deserve love. We all deserve beautiful things. And if you have this relationship now, no matter what you feel like, you deserve it. You are worthy of it. If a beautiful relationship is definitely for you. And whether you feel really happy about it or really bad and not feel anything at all, that doesn't matter. If the relationship is here, you deserve it for sure. And even, I obviously have to say that, even if you have only had unhealthy relationships up till now, you also deserve a beautiful, beautiful, loving relationship. So that could be a reason that you just are so afraid it will get taken away, that you just shut down your feelings, because it would make it easier if you would ever lose it, because then it would hurt less. I know I thought that consciously. I thought, well, maybe it's good that I have these doubts and I'm not feeling so intensely about him, um, because then when something bad would happen, it wouldn't hurt so much. And obviously, that's not true. Losing somebody always hurts. It always hurts. So I think we're not protecting ourselves from anything. And the thing that really helped me healing that was that when I interviewed 100 couples happily married for over 40 years, I also interviewed a few widows, and most of them, or all of them, said that they were so grateful and happy that they allowed themselves to experience that love, and they could enjoy their memories because they were so happy. And I that made me self-reflect and think, well, if I would die, I would beat myself up for not making the most of every moment. And obviously we're not perfect, so just normal day stuff happens and you can't always be completely elated. That's normal, that's human, that's fine. But it really helped me in being more grateful for what I did have and seeing the beautiful things and enjoying the beautiful moments. When that fear creeped up that what if I lose it all, it made it much easier to say, well, then I won't have any regrets because I really was here, I was present, I really allowed it in. And from those interviews with the widows and widowers, I knew that that is actually such a healing thing, such a balm for the soul when something terrible does happen. So I hope this helps you too. The last one, the fourth one. If you are too happy, too in love, too much in all those positive emotions or in a positive state, you will miss things. You will not notice things that you have to notice. This is your fear brain talking. This is not me. This is your fear brain talking. So the fearful avoidant has a very active fear brain and fear system, which are not official terms. That's just what I started to call that part of me that was just trying to protect me with fear. And I started noticing that when I was too happy, that my fear brain kicked into gear and just made me worry and made me see things that were missing and made me see things that weren't right, just to get me to pay attention, to be alert. So your fear brain believes that if you are too happy, if you have too many good positive feelings, which also is being in love, then you're not paying attention and you will miss things. You won't see things coming, and you have to see things coming. And I say things because it is that vague. It is this dark cloud or this impending sense of doom that you don't really know what it is, but you just feel like you have to just be alert all the time, which can be hypervigilance, where you're just scanning your environment and sometimes even the future for anything that can go wrong, which is just a very exhausting state to be in. And there are so many ways to help your fear brain in this, because your fear brain is not wrong. It is really just trying to protect you and help you. It is just a little bit overactive, and healing a lot of your trauma and healing the fearful avoidant attachment style will really show your fear brain that it isn't necessary to be this active. It isn't necessary to always keep yourself in a state of fear and anxiousness and worry just to be safe. You can be so safe and you can feel safe while being super happy, being in love, and being completely relaxed. And when you healed, you will notice that that is actually more natural. That feels more natural to feel happy, to feel relaxed. And it's not true. I was so scared of this. It is not true that when you are healed and you are happy, that you just don't pay attention anymore at all and everything just comes as a surprise. That is not true. You're still able to be alert. You're still able to see your surroundings. And I think in a way even more so, because being very afraid, it also creates a tunnel vision, and you are focused on this one thing that could go wrong, and therefore you're not really paying attention to a lot of other things. While being happy and being relaxed, I notice that it's easy to kind of stay alert and pay attention to many things at once, also knowing that when things go wrong, it's completely fine. I know I will be safe. I know I will be okay, because I now trust myself. I trust my personal power. I trust what I can do. And that was not the case at all. When I was in the crash state of the fearful avoidant attachment style, I felt so weak and so powerless. And so it felt like when something bad would happen, that would just be the end of me. And so there are so many ways to help your fear brain see that, wait, you got this, I got this. It isn't necessary to be always on and always so hyper vigilant. And what helped me in really being dedicated to healing this is that I at one point asked myself, okay, Pauline, do I really want to spend the rest of my life in this hyper vigilant, anxious, fearful state where I always have to pay attention and where I always have to worry? And the answer was just a very hard no. I do not want that, because what future that would be a future where I would just not have all the beautiful things that life has to offer, all the feelings of being in love and being relaxed and just enjoying the moment, enjoying my life, savoring a cup of tea by the fireplace, or just a glass of wine with the sun going down, and really taking that all in and being in the moment, the small things and the large things. And I wanted to live life. I wanted to enjoy life. And I did not want for the rest of my life to feel this way. And I knew at that point already, I had healed quite some things already, that your fear brain tries to make it seem like when you control your environment, when you control all these things around you, and when you see everything coming, then you can be safe. Then it's okay to relax. And I knew at that point that that was never going to happen. If you keep postponing happiness, it's not going to happen. There's a very different thing you have to do in allowing happiness to feel safe in your body, regardless of what is happening outside of you. And so that was the moment that I dedicated myself to healing that. And I'm very grateful that I did. And I truly wish that for you too, that you get to experience that and just get to experience life, because life really isn't meant to be such a struggle and exhausting and survival mode. It is actually, you will notice when you've healed this attachment style that it's so much easier than you think. Of course, it's still life and you're still human, so things are gonna happen and life is messy, but it's so much easier to enjoy life and to be happy and to have all these wonderful moments than you might think. No, it really is possible. And you're never ever too broken for that. There's always healing possible. I have healing cards for you to help you on that healing journey. And these are truly relevant for this situation because they really help you see what things you can affirm to yourself to make all those beautiful things in life feel safe. So find the link in the description below and you can download them and you can just put them as the background of your phone or your laptop, or write them down somewhere or hang them up somewhere, and start feeling safe to allow all these beautiful things, one of which being having beautiful feelings for your partner. As always, I am so happy you are here, and I will see you in the next one.